Oh, hello, and welcome to Dente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
And I'm Dr. Leviathan.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta. Tonight we have, as a special, suicide...
yeah. Special.
Well, okay, as a Saturday morning cartoon special...
Extravaganza, I believe, is the word you're looking for.
Yes. Yeah, we have 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 lost episode pastas. All retaining to death and nostalgia. Squidward Suicide, Dead Bart, and Suicide Mouse.
How nostalgic is fucking...
I mean, like, in terms of, like, they're nostalgic in terms of, like, watching The Simpsons or Mickey Mouse and...
Yeah, I wasn't talking about those. I was talking about fucking SpongeBob.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, it's about 15 years ago.
I didn't watch it when I was a kid, dude.
True, yeah.
It's not...
It wasn't until I was, like, actually in my teens or, like young adult that I actually started watching... that I actually, like, noticed it, so...
Okay, well, I've never watched it.
All right.
Because it came, like...
It came out
thing
before
when
us.
I was too damn old.
Yeah. But yeah, so for those of you just tuning in, creepypasta are scary short stories that get copied and pasted across the internet.
And lost episode ones are ones that try and take the popularity of a popular TV show from whenever, wherever, and try and make a claim that there is some sort of creepy episode that was never aired because it was just too disturbing or too fucked up or haunted or some stupid thing. I'm sorry, I have no patience with the lost episode ones.
I understand. I love
because
them, but
there is nothing scary about them. Because there's just it's literally trying to scare me by something that is up front before I even read the story. I know it's just a fucking recording.
Yeah.
You're not going to scare me with it. Oh no, someone drew an animated character's death? Fucked if I care. I don't get frightened by them at all. There is no creep factor. It's just... It's like fan fiction written by people who need help.
Like cupcakes.
No, like fucking all 3 of these.
Yeah. I don't know. I like lost episodes because, like... It takes something from my childhood, I guess, and like twists it, and for some reason I get I'm intrigued by that idea of like innocence being lost or like through that. So I don't know.
If you want innocence lost for The Simpsons, just watch fucking later seasons of The Simpsons.
Oh, or the movie. Anyway. Also, for a certain person that's a while back asked us on our Tumblr site, are we going to do any lost episodes that aren't done by Slime Beast? The answer is yes.
Slime Beast weren't lost episodes?
Lost episode. Like, literally the one that we read that was lost episodes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We had somebody ask us on...
He's done that many? Fuck. Alright. I don't pay attention to who writes them.
Fair enough.
Apparently.
So yeah, we'll start off with Squidward Suicide. Then do Dead Bart, and then do Suicide Mouse. So, with Squidward Suicide, the narrator is a intern at Nickelodeon. And he gets this perk as part of the job. Like, it doesn't pay, but he gets this perk as part of the job. He gets to watch episodes days before they air, so they can finish editing.
While they're in the editing process, yeah.
Yeah. Because that's totally how animation works, guys.
Yeah, that immediately just...
Yeah. It's not how it works. It takes months before before an episode will even air. But anyway, and they go into this screening room and with a bunch of the sound and animation editors and stuff, and they're watching this new episode, and the title screen comes up and it's Squidward Suicide, and it's kind of...
and my favorite part is that it's days before it airs, and it doesn't even have the right title card, because this is a thing that they do sometimes. Yeah. They fuck with each other, by throwing in,
in jokes.
Crass humor title cards, because, hey, we're 6.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean...
Days before it airs.
Days before it airs. Exactly. So they... Yeah, so it's like they don't really pay that much mind, though they think it's kind of morbid. But they keep going with the show. And the show is Squidward playing his clarinet, or practicing his clarinet, and SpongeBob bothering him. And he's getting angry, and he's trying to get ready for a concert that's going on that night. And then the bubble splash transition thing comes up, and it's that night at the concert, and he plays the clarinet, and he misses a bunch of tones because of, I think, like an audio-video glitch or something like that. There's a glitch in the video, but so it unsyncs the audio, but apparently that affects his performance or something in the show, and people start laughing and booing, really maliciously at him, and even SpongeBob is in the crowd booing him, and which is unlike SpongeBob apparently. I guess because he's like a lighthearted character. I don't know. And so this just makes this gets Squidward depressed and whatnot. And then it cuts to
him in his bedroom.
Yeah, him in his bedroom, and there's a weird wind sound and rushing of wind and some burbling and moaning and screaming going on.
There's some fucking unnecessary description going on
of audio and music, which sounds like a trigger for us.
It's just it's this fucking absolutely unnecessary. You think that they were going to do something with it and then never did, but didn't edit it out of the goddamn story.
Yeah.
Because it is so fucking pointless and they spend so much fucking time with it.
Yeah. The only thing that comes of it is that there's
nothing.
There's a deep-toned laughter that has
no effect on anything.
Hang on. And then becomes... Let me fucking continue, okay?
No. Really?
Yes.
No.
So, and it's this deep, baritone laugh or something like that, that starts making itself more and more present in this. And by the end, I'm just going to go through the main thing and then cut to the splice stuff. And it eventually tells him in a deep tone, it's do it. And then Squidward happens to have a shotgun there, and he just blows his brains out at the end of the video. And that's the end of that of the episode. Him staring at him as a corpse on his bed, staring at nothing, and his brains, and hyper realistic artwork and stuff too, which is always just kind of weird when they mention that in these things.
There's really no reason for it. Isn't it creepier? Because at that point, the blood and the gray matter and the skull fragments wouldn't look like Squidward's, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if it was happy-go-lucky animated, just blood and gore, that looks like Squidward's, and it's fucking, it's a little more unsettling, because you've got that juxtaposition of it's gore, but it's drawn in this happy-go-lucky art style.
Yeah, exactly. It's like watching... I mean, I've actually seen, some graphic scenes that have happened in animes, like Japanese anime, where it's a happy-go-lucky series, and then something dark happens, and you see blood splatter, and it's whoa! And it's a dark, creepy. It's creepy when it happens because you're not expecting it.
Yeah,
because it's the same art style essentially. Same thing would have worked for this one, instead of using this hyper-realistic thing, which seems to be a trend in these subgenres.
It seems, yeah. Well, I mean, in these fucking two of the three of them have that, and and also, while this is going on, this whole event of him, becoming depressed and shooting himself, goes on, there's, little, not even, a frame, or a frame, and, 5 frames at one of them, spliced in. The 5 frames is the big one.
Yeah. But there's, frames spliced into the video that they slow down and, go frame by frame to find, that are of, children on a road, disemboweled, and their eye, one of their eyeballs is popped out.
Yeah,
it's just really graphic and not really unnecessarily disgusting
to do
thing
with the episode of SpongeBob.
Exactly, yeah, and it's just a pitch. It's not a crime scene photo. It's a photo they're making it out to be that it was the photo with the killer behind the camera. Especially in the 5 frame one, where they have it processed to do in a small animation. They see it's part of a video. So, oh, creepy. It's, it is disturbing, but it's, unnecessary for this. Like, it doesn't...
Yeah,
like,
it doesn't feel like a lost episode material for that, or...
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, the series... Like, the episode ends, like, they go through it, and, like, a bunch of people leave and, like, lose their lunch and stuff about it. And eventually they call down the higher-up.
Oh, yeah, and this one is also sexist as fuck, because the only person to vomit is the only person to vomit is the only woman in the room. I was like...
Wow. Just, yeah.
Like, maybe I'm just reading too much into this, like a lot of people who fucking,
will do
that shit. But for me, I don't know. I've met a lot of women who have way fucking higher threshold for disgusting shit than I do.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, I know. It did come off as like, wow, way to be from the 40s, guy.
Yeah, it just, I don't know, it seemed unnecessary for the only woman to be the only person to vomit, because, you know what? That's a pretty fucking because it was over the image.
Yeah.
And the image is spliced in, and, like, it was a pretty graphic image. I would,
I think I would
have been okay with half of the people in that damn room, spilling their cookies there, because, yeah, that's not cool.
Yeah. I don't know, yeah, it was just, and then so they called the higher up.
It seemed like unnecessary detail that, because
like people were losing their lunch, and then the one woman just ran out.
No, the one woman is the only one who vomited.
Okay.
And, yeah, I think how it was.
I think people were vomiting, and then she just ran out.
Regardless, she's the biggest bitch.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily read that it's because she's a woman, but it's pointed out that she was the only woman in the room. And I think that is unnecessary detail that...
In this day and age...
I'm not saying that it is necessarily a sexist comment, but
it felt kind of like
a lot of people will read that.
Yeah.
And that's just a stupid thing to put in.
Yeah. I know when I was reading it, it was like, oh, wow. Huh, that's a thing. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm actually surprised because I did go through the comments. Didn't really see anything about it. But I didn't read too far because I started reading it and it's like, why isn't this deleted? This is stupid. Blah, 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 blah. But anyway, so the higher up comes down and they check it, and obviously, holy crap, it's what the fuck is this? This is not what we had. So they try and track it down. Apparently, its time code was like 26 seconds before viewing the goddamn thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's when it was last tampered with. It was like, what? And so they're like, oh man, it has to be like done from the drawing board guys to us or something like that. So some quality assurance folk came in to analyze it, and they went through it, and they could not figure out how this happened. Is essentially what happened. Is what is described. Is that there is no plausible explanation for how this happened in such a short amount of time. The time code is like nothing was tampered with. No software or hardware has anything that hints to this. It was like they just popped it into the tape, and suddenly it started changing the show as they were watching it. And they still don't know to this day. That's literally like at the end of the episode, series, the story. So, I believe that. Oh, and the guy's just like, I never believed in the supernatural until I came face to face with it watching this Nickelodeon video. I was like, oh wow, really, Zach Bragan from Ghost Adventures? Ugh.
Yeah, there's so many things just silly about this.
Yeah, and that's really like it is. For me, it was the hardest one to read of these three, just because like the other two at least were short. They were they had some cool ideas in it, but they weren't like, and there were even some like kind of just like some cool creepy ideas in it.
And for the most part, they stay in the episode.
Yeah, this one is like,
whereas like it's talking about like animation industry shit.
Yeah.
And
some of it's right.
If you know it, that's cool. If you don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, most people don't know about it.
Yeah.
And then the fact that the first thing he says is like erroneously fucking wrong. So
yeah.
It's just like all credibility on everything else he says is just out the window.
Yeah.
And the fact that like the images being spliced into the episode were just,
and they weren't able to identify
unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like,
also they had like full, like it does mention like the photos like show like the kids' faces. I mean, horribly mauled or whatever, and they still weren't able to like identify them or find out who they were. Like,
yeah.
Again, trying to add on to like it's supernatural or something. No, I'm sorry. like, you've lost me, like, halfway down this racetrack. You can't get me back for this.
Yeah. It's just, yeah.
Like, even I like my supernatural thrown into something that's criminal, like a crime story.
And
but
you know me, I love ghosts and goblins and all manner of fucking creepy creatures or happenings. And this is just, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's the creepypasta. That's the rundown. That's just, like, ripped into it as we are. Yeah, can't recommend this one ever. It was, well, first off, it was way, like, it was a slog for me to read. It was the graphic stuff when it was mentioned, like, was gone into way too much detail and, like, just to the point of, like, being silly and disgusting, not creepy.
Yeah, it was just, yeah.
So
it was dead children for the sake of having dead children.
Of giving us it's the effect of a jump scare.
Yeah.
And it was useless. So,
well, and not even like a jump scare, like a rape scene in a movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Largely, most of the time, unnecessary and just put in there because people dislike rape.
Yeah.
And I mean,
they're trying to get a reaction out of it.
Yeah.
It's
and they don't care why you're reacting.
Yeah.
And that's what I felt like those images, because, again, they didn't add anything. Like, they had nothing to do with Squidward's suicide that I could tell.
Yeah.
I mean, at least the wind and the laughter and all of that, at least, it eventually told Squidward to do it.
And then he blew his brains out. Honestly, if it had just been that would have been...
the images don't contribute to that because... They're actual images.
Yeah, they were literally there as an attempt at literary jump scare. There was no, they were just there for shock value.
Yeah, they don't, like...
It's just not very good. Honestly, I like the idea, I like what you proposed, where, if this had just been, it's not very, it's still kind of, in poor taste.
If it had just been a morbid fucking episode of...
Where, he blows his brains out, but it's, done in, the style of the show... That would have been fine. It would have been creepier for that.
And I'm going to assume, since I've never watched SpongeBob, that it would be the best episode of SpongeBob ever.
Probably. I don't know. I've watched 1 or 2 episodes and the movie, but I don't know. I had some context where you had none to this, and it was just okay. There are some gross jokes that they throw in it, but this one, especially during the Halloween episodes, but it's not. I don't know. It definitely would have been creepier if this had been like that, though. So, yeah. Not very well executed, yeah. Whoever wrote this. I'm not saying it's a guy, I'm just... Yeah. So, we'll move on to the next one, which is Dead Bart. Which, Dead Bart's... I'm pretty sure all 3 of these are essentially the forefathers of Lost Episode pastas. They did kind of, start the popularity.
But there's only 3 of them. But,
I hope that was audible. So, yeah, Dead Bart. It starts off as this. So this guy trying to find. There's this lost episode in the original season of Simpsons because. And it tries to explain why Fox has such a shitty time trying to present episodes of Simpsons, numbering them and stuff. And this one proposes that because there's this lost episode that they tried to cover up. So the guy, and apparently in the first season, Matt Groening went to a dark place. He was quiet and very morbid, but you couldn't talk to him about it because that would just get him angry, and people would try to get hush hush about it. And thereafter, if you mentioned it, people would just people that were connected with it would just leave or just vacate the premises. So at one convention, this narrator goes to essentially stalks Matt Groening as he leaves a panel or whatever, and talks to him outside the convention center about it, and he just kind of loses all color and just grabs a piece of paper and writes down something, hands it to him, and just tells him to not mention this ever again, and then just walks away. And so the guy goes home, checks it out. The scribbling is a link to a website. The website has a single download link to it, and so he downloads it. And sure enough, it's a virus that completely destroys it, crashes his computer. But when he reboots his computer and it's all emptied out and refreshed, the file that he downloaded wasn't just a virus; it was also a video file called Dead Bart. So goes and watches it, and it starts off like a normal Simpsons episode, where the family is going on a airplane trip, and they go. They're about 50 feet in the air in the plane when Bart manages to break one of the windows open and just goes flying out the window and falls to his death essentially. And they took advantage of the fact that he's like just stationary the whole time on the ground, so they like went to hyper realism of the corpse, like to make
hyper realism in an animated thing. We've already gone over that.
For those of you playing the home game, take a drink because that's essentially the kind of the plot of this. So yeah, hyper realism. They tried. And so, like, the family goes, like, it cuts to the family being in mourning, and then it cuts to a year later, and the family is emaciated. They're still at the table mourning.
The pets and the baby are gone.
And there's figures in the back, like, there's shadowy figures in the window that pass through, and that you can't really see, but you notice that, there's somebody who goes by the window, but you don't know who they are. And then they decide that they're going to go see Bart's tombstone or grave. So they walk out into a abandoned and derelict Springfield, like it's just there's nobody around, and all the buildings look decrepit and stuff. So they walk out to the cemetery and they find there's Bart's tombstone, and at the foot of it he's not even buried. It's the same image of him when he was on the ground where he landed, just a corpse piled at the bottom of this tombstone. And so they're like,
and it's been a year and he hasn't
rotted,
decayed at all.
Yeah,
well, that's because of the hyper realism.
Clearly.
Fucking bullshit.
So they start mourning, and then the big thing of this one though is that like the tombstones all have celebrities or cameo appearance.
Guest stars.
Any guest star that was ever on the show.
And all the ones who are already dead
have
their tombstone matches the date they died. Like, even though they died since
after this one.
And
also,
just a quick question: did Michael Jackson guest star in The Simpsons in season 1?
Well, they never. Well, that's the thing.
I'm pretty sure.
No, but that's the thing. Like they say, there's guest stars from from later on. Like I think it was, like it wasn't just the first season.
Okay.
Which is weird. And then it mentions and the weirdest thing was the people who haven't died yet all have the same death date. Dun dun dun. Some kind of weird prophetic apocalypse thing apparently. Angle it's going with. And then that's kind of the end. Like the credits are all silent, and it shows like a brief clip of them all sitting at the on their couch, like decayed or crap or like horribly emaciated and stuff, and dead. So and then that's it. So the video, that's pretty much it. That's it. That's the end of the pasta. So I don't know. This one, like, there were some cool ideas in it. Like again, like we pointed out, the airplane part is kind of a little weird.
Well, the airplane part it's too, like, okay, yes, the cabin is pressurized even when the plane is at 50 feet, but there isn't a big difference between the pressure in the cabin and the pressure outside of the cabin, so that if a window were to break, you're not going to have that, explosive decompression like you see in the movies. And Matt Groening tends to employ intelligent enough writers to know that shit and to not have that in, because it's just as easy to not have that stupid mistake in.
Yeah.
Personal opinion on that. Also, this one just... Okay, it starts as though it's, like, just a really fucking fucked up episode that Matt Groening and Fox both decide, like, okay, this one should never get aired.
Yeah.
Obviously, because it basically kills off your entire fucking cast. But beyond that...
yeah.
It's dark, it's creepy, it
didn't
odd.
fit it ended the series like at season 1.
Well, and it's also very, just not with the tone of the rest of the series. Yeah. So I can understand that. But then it's like, oh yeah, and everyone's gonna die on the same day. Dun, dun, dun. And now it's like you're trying to get into some sort of supernatural bullshit.
Yeah.
Whereas before you were trying to play it off as just like a really bad decision when, made by Matt when he was in a dark place.
Yeah.
That one that would have been better to just leave it as that, not as some sort of death prophecy.
Yeah, and that's really kind of where they tried to, and for me, like, reading it, like, I did like that idea of, like, this creepy, haunted episode that prophesies the, people, like, the end of the world or something like that.
Have one or the other, not both. Don't try and go from, like, oh yeah, it's just a really dark episode, to...
Don't escalate that.
It's it's got a touch of the supernatural. Why does it have to have a touch of the supernatural? And if it has a touch of the supernatural, why don't you
then
establish that from the beginning, not just, like, is Matt some sort of fucking weird death prophet? Because I'm pretty sure,
Was he possessed in the
he
first
got
scene?
a little,
Yeah, like...
he got a little pissy every time he saw that Futurama was gonna die.
Ayo. Oh. But, yeah, no, I mean, like, again, there's cool ideas in it, and definitely better than Squidward Suicide, but... I don't know, it just wasn't, it is one of the original ones, but I don't know, it's just not up to snuff.
It's inconsistent, and, like, I also can't picture in season 1 anyone being in such a weird place that they would want to make an episode like this. Also, all of the people that need to, that are in the process to make an episode... I just can't see them helping.
What is this? What? All right,
someone's going to question this shit, and eventually it's going to be someone who, is going to have the ability to say no, because they control the monies.
Exactly, like the executives
to pay all of the people.
We're not going to you're killing off a major character, and then later
you're killing off our biggest merchandise.
You're killing off a major character, and then the family, essentially, and then the entire town's... What? No, sorry, you're going to have to get rid of... Just, we're not even going to be able to accept this screenplay. Or the script. No. Go back and write it better. Go write it a better way. I mean, it started off almost like in Family Guy, the Brian thing. Which, I mean, I know the Simpsons did it first in this instance, where they try to Brian dies and stuff like that. But then they go prophetic, the numbers all add up kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's just why? So, there's no link. There's no continuity between the two. So, and again, if you look at this logically, the execs would not have had this.
No.
There's no way Matt would have been able to have hid this, from them until, it was too late they did.
And there is no way that he could have been so depressed that basically people whose jobs are to care about making money would give a rat's ass about how he feels.
Yeah.
Because he's, he's trying to get an episode made that's basically going to lose them a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So it's just, I don't know, pick the type of story you want to do, and then do that. Do you want it to be a, prophetic death thing, or do you want it to be a creepy episode? And then stick with that for the duration of your story. Doesn't sound like a difficult concept, but as we've seen on the show
examples
before, there's always examples of that shit.
Yeah.
And also, it's just, like you said, with, the tiniest bit of scrutiny, there's just
no way this would happen.
Yeah.
This
is impossible, not implausible.
Yeah, with the amount of and this unfortunately this is the case with a lot of Lost episode things, is that somebody tries to explain logically how a creepy video or a Lost episode gets created, and it kind of falls short because in our normal world that shit doesn't happen.
So many goddamn people involved in every single episode of any animated show.
Yeah, so trying to explain it that it was the company that made this and not maybe a pirate version or something that's online somewhere.
Yeah,
it falls short,
or
because,
just a fucking ghost version.
Exactly, a haunted version. That is, it's not possible in our logical world, but in a creepypasta it makes more sense than trying to explain a corporation goofing up like this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, it doesn't happen.
That is the one moment that Squidward has over Dead Bart.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Yeah. So, that's Dead Bart. Again, I still really can't recommend this one. I mean, it's got some cool ideas, but not enough to make... It wasn't really creepy. Like, the creepiest thing was something that shouldn't have... Like, they should have, like, stuck with that for the whole story and not this conspiracy at the beginning and then moved on to this...
Well,
like,
exactly. There's just...
Yeah.
It's inconsistent.
Yeah.
And if I wanted to... Yeah, well, I would never want to read something that's inconsistent, so...
Yeah, so not recommending it. And then we move on to Suicide Mouse. So this one... So when So everybody remembers the 1930s, like, black and white cartoons of Mickey Mouse and the Disney animations. And the narrator is going on about how, like a couple of years back, they digitized them all and, like, put them on DVD collection. But this one, they decided to keep off of it because when they were going through it, they're like, it was just like an animation loop of Mickey Mouse walking past the same 6 buildings over and over again. And so they decided to digitize it anyways, and then
to preserve it.
But and when they digitized it, they realized that there were 6 more minutes on top of the video, making it like 9 minutes and some odd seconds.
4
seconds. And so it was like, what's this extra 6 minutes about? We'll get to your fatal flaw in a minute. If for the listeners at home, Leviathan is giddy with anticipation. So they go through. They start watching the next like 6 minutes, and it's just this creepy like burbling sound with like sobbing, and then it eventually becomes blood curdling screaming, and then static as Mickey Mouse is walking downtrodden down a street. Again, the 6 minute loop thing, or the 6 building loop. And then as it goes on and gets more and more intense with the sounds and stuff, Mickey Mouse starts like his facial features all start dropping down to the bottom of his face, like stones in a goldfish bowl, I think is what it mentions.
Yeah, which is weird because his eyeballs are on the outside of his skull.
Yeah.
They're not inside anything.
But I mean, it's animation, so it's like...
Yeah, but it just doesn't make any sense, right?
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of animation back in the 30s, like...
No.
Kind of...
The description...
Oh, okay.
...doesn't make any sense.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's like, oh yeah, his eyeballs are hanging on his cheeks like fish in a fishbowl.
Oh, okay, no, I get what you're saying. Yeah, they're outside, not just dropped down to the bottom of the line, yeah.
What?
Yep.
Just, like...
Not exactly, not quite the description I would use.
These are not the same thing.
Yeah, it's like he forgot to mention, try to omit that one part, or he couldn't decide what thing he wanted to do. I don't know. It got caught. Yeah. Like a better description would have been like, oh, they dropped down to the bottom and clung there like things in a grate or something like that. I don't know. Anyway.
Or apple on a branch.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many things you could have said to describe it, and you chose something that doesn't seem accurate on the face of it, or once you think about it.
Yeah. Or to be artsy, it would have been like, they drooped down like a Salvador Dali painting.
Well, no, because then they would have
flopped.
Been folded.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Anyway. So, and then it cuts to, it just becomes this hellish thing, and then it cuts to a face of Mickey, for the title, and then, I can't remember, is there, something at the end, I know there's something at the end that we don't get a description of, but apparently the guy who's narrating this talked to a security guard at the time.
Well, and there's also a, a bit of Russian text.
Yes. There's Russian text, which
really just is fucking pointless. It's just pointless to have in there.
I like the I remember seeing it it's so there's just some kind of weird occult thing to it, but
yeah, but it just doesn't fit.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any goddamn sense.
A lot of things when they do this kind of stuff, in horror movies and stuff, generally tends to not fit. They use the the wrongness, like the out of placeness, to try and add on like a creepiness to it.
Yeah.
So with this one, again, we don't get a full description of what happened at the last couple of seconds of this, but apparently, when talking to a security guard at the time, who happened to be passing the room that was the screening was going on, the person came out just horribly depressed and whatnot, and just repeated a phrase. You got the quote there?
Real suffering is not known.
What was it? Sorry?
I just said
I didn't hear. Okay.
Well, you asked me to say it and then you don't listen? God, we are an old married couple.
God.
Real suffering is not known.
Okay.
Did you get real suffering is not known? And yet, I feel like maybe I've got a clue.
I see what you did there, sir. And yeah, they repeat this 6 times, and then pull the gun off the security guard's side and blow their brains out or off themselves, as it puts in the story. And so
no, offing himself on the spot.
Yes,
that is just
the
stupidest
also,
way to put that.
I mean, I also would a security guard really have a gun in Disney?
Well, it would be in the States, and we're also talking the 30s. Maybe, I don't know. It
may, yeah. Anyway, so...
Oh, I guess this wasn't the 30s, because this would have been
90s
modern. Yeah.
2000, yeah.
My bad on that.
I thought they would have had, baton. But,
maybe, but...
or taser. But, yeah, I know, it doesn't really, for me, it kind of, again, I don't know if that's, if America has, different laws for security guards and stuff. I know a couple of my friends that are security guards, are in the security business, don't use guns. They use, batons or even a
that's
taser.
because we're in Canada.
Exactly,
and
yeah.
Just in general, we're less gun happy.
Yeah.
I can totally see security guards in the States having guns.
Okay.
Not all of them, but I can see lots of them. I just can't
also see
someone having a gun on their hip and being disarmed so easily.
Yeah. I mean, even if you're you were taken by surprise by this weird or by this guy just spouting gibberish. But at the same time, also I think the other thing I think is really what happened with the story was that the writer has watched one too many movies where security guards have guns on their on their hips, and that's probably where that came from. But that's just my opinion on that. And then so the story.
So judgmental.
Oh. So the story ends with the digital file gets locked away in the vault by the higher ups, never to be seen again. However, somehow it got leaked online because sometimes you'll see suicidemouse.avi, and the guy is I haven't found a full version of it yet, but I know it's out there. Dun dun dun. And so that's the end of it. So. Again, this one, I like the idea. There's some cool ideas with it. Personally, the using anachronistic animation or using antique animation, essentially, using black and white animation from the 30s, and having something wrong with it. The only issue that we have we have a fatal flaw in this.
It's not the only issue.
Not the only issue, but we have a fatal. Leviathan found a fatal flaw with this one.
Well, I'm pretty sure you did too.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's because they didn't notice the fact that it was 3 times longer than what they watch when it's on film.
Yeah.
So there was a lot more cellular. They watch a 3-minute fucking film, and there's more on the reel that's feeding than on the reel that's receiving. But we're just gonna fucking ignore that.
Yeah, I know. Now, I think when I was reading it, I kind of just threw it off as oh well, it's something supernatural, the computer, when it got digitized, there was a ghost in the machine or something like that gave this extra 6 minutes. That's how I explained it away in my head when I was reading it. Yeah, so it didn't bother me as much.
They don't say that's.
I know, but I try to go for. Also, I do like I
don't like to fix other people's mistakes.
True, and that's actually that doesn't help the discussion or the. I guess we're kind of review these things. Also. You don't think the Russian stuff should be there. I kind of see it as just being something to do with the occult. So it kind of adds on.
Oh, because everyone from Russia is involved in the occult.
Just
you're so racist.
61 episodes and you don't know that yet. Anyway, But yeah, like I like there's a lot of like just things in this that like seem off, like that couldn't happen otherwise. So they're like, I like to like think that they're supernatural, but
there's no actual express statement that shit is supernatural.
True.
So I'm led to believe that it's just a fucking video. There is 3 times more cellulite than anyone ever fucking watched for some fucked up reason.
Yeah.
Someone made this under Walt's scrutiny.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like, if Walt Disney was a obsessive compulsive person, like he would watch his
He wanted to be
guys.
Involved in it.
Exactly,
Because
like,
it was his fucking name attached to it.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah. There's a reason he didn't, like when people wanted to see the 3 Little Pigs thing, he refused to do extra ones because, like, that's it. So, like, yeah, it's like he had a say in everything that got animated.
Yeah, so someone animating this back then,
like, what you doing?
It would have been like, hey, what are you up to? Why are you doing that? That's Mickey Mouse. You don't do that to Mickey.
Security, get rid of this man.
Shoot this man.
Yeah, pretty much.
On the spot.
I burned his desk. Well, don't burn his desk. Just put it all in a box and just burn it outside with the body. Buried in that concrete vault underneath our Disney park.
The one we say that we put movies in.
Yeah. But yeah, it's that kind of, like, he would not, like, the guy, like, anybody who was trying to, like, animate this under his nose would have been caught and fired. So, again, it's another one of those things where it's, like, trying to add any kind of,
a little bit of scrutiny just puts a bunch of holes into your story.
Yeah.
And I mean, alright, but, yeah, like, I don't know. It's unfeasible, and that just bothers me, and yeah, a lot of this could be explained away if it was supernatural in nature in some way.
But we're never given, really...
But no one ever tries to say that it is. Like, the narrator never tries to state that it's supernatural.
Yeah, actually, the Squidward suicide kind of, like, at least kind of hints to the supernatural in it.
It doesn't hint, it flat out
Tells it. I never believed in the supernatural until I came
I guess
face to face with
technically it does hint, but...
Yeah.
It like, because, I mean, really, 24 seconds before fucking...
Yeah, like, again, like, they try to...
Before they try and watch it, it gets altered so drastically, in theory, so drastically.
Yeah.
But all of the machines are working properly. Like,
there's no temp... Yeah, there's no...
It basically... It's in that... Like, at that point, it states that it's supernatural by removing all other options.
Yeah. And
whereas
again,
this one doesn't remove any of the options.
Yeah.
So I'm led to believe that it's, it was just, one of the animators or a couple of the animators, whatever, sitting at their desk, drawing up fucking
Mickey looking
weird ass fucking Mickey.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, but again, like, logically, Walt Disney would have had those people fired.
And logically, someone over the past, 70 fucking years would have watched the extra 6 minutes of cellulite.
Yeah. So there is that. So, again, at a glance, there's some creepy things in it, but then as you start scrutinizing it or read it a second time, it kind of loses the initial and kind of just becomes... Like, this wouldn't happen. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
So
it's all over the place, silly.
Yeah. So those were the 3 Lost episodes. My thing with Lost episodes, and I like how, again, like, the Dead Bart and, like, all 3 of these, Dead Bart, Squidward Suicide, and Suicide Mouse, they're all very popular Lost episodes. In fact, I'm pretty sure most, like, 2 of 3 of these, like, started it. Essentially, or got really popular, that genre, and I can see why. Like, it's taking something nostalgic that you like from your childhood, like Mickey Mouse or Simpsons or SpongeBob, if you're a younger kid or a younger reader or writer. And then twisting it to make something different or make something horrible or horrifying of it. And that's what, like, a lot of horror movies do, like Friday the 13th. Oh, camping's fun, right? Not until you put a fucking murderer into it, right? Like, it's that kind of, like, taking something that's...
Here's my thing.
Okay.
Why would you do that with The Simpsons when The Simpsons do that every year for Halloween? And they do a better job.
Well, yeah, but... I don't know. Well, it's again like a lot of
Some years anyway. Some years they don't.
Sometimes they just parody on the parody. And I mean, yeah, I mean, Simpsons does it with their Halloween special, and actually even SpongeBob did it with the Halloween ones. But I mean, at the same time, like, people have a right to do their own creative, like, take on something. Obviously, none of these are getting, like, nobody got money for doing these pastas, so it's out there on the internet for anybody to read, and go read it on creepypasta.wiki if you still want to read them after this review. Or discussion, and there's tons of like YouTube readings of these pastas. I didn't listen to any of them because I just wanted to read through this and get this done. But yeah, they're like if you just Google and if you Google these like Squidward suicide or Suicide Mouse, Dead Bart, you'll find there'll be tons of like videos or like entries on creepypasta websites for them. And it's funny because the comments are almost always like negative, like why is this not in trollpasta.wiki or why has this not been deleted yet?
Yeah.
So and even Suicide Mouse even has a goddamn fucking video game now called suicidemouse.avi, which is essentially a pixelized version of what is described, and it eventually just boils down to going to hell and stuff. Yeah. And it's it's a creepy little game, but it's not like anything really to write home about. It's just, again, taking a character that's usually happy-go-lucky and tossing them into hell, which is what this is. But I don't know, for me, there's a bit of a charm in reading, like, that, for some reason, reading that thing. Like, it's the same reason with, like, horror stories, like, taking something that shouldn't be horror and making it horror. I feel is an interesting idea or concept, and that's why I like reading these lost episodes and stuff.
I hear you, I just don't, I kind of understand, taking something that's, generally depicted as happy-go-lucky and, making it horrible and shit. I personally enjoy the movie Santa's Sleigh.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. I don't really feel any large necessity for any of these myself.
Yeah.
That's my take on it. I mean, the only one of these that I could recommend is Suicide Mouse because, I don't know, it's the one that didn't feel like it was... It really just felt like it was trying to be creepy first, as opposed to, oh yeah, I'm gonna write a creepypasta that's a Simpsons episode or a fucking SpongeBob episode. Why? Because these are things that I like, or these are things that I, think other people will, see, Simpsons, and read it because they like Simpsons, because Simpsons is so fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Whereas with Suicide Mouse, I feel like they just wanted something from, the 30s, so they fucking grabbed Mickey Mouse, because that's the one they knew.
Yeah.
And they just decided, it'd be fucking creepy as fuck, a weird-ass version of fucking Steamboat Mickey.
Yeah, what if Mickey wasn't happy-go-lucky skipping around, and what if he was just walking down a depressing road, and then just started, falling apart, essentially.
Also, Suicide Mouse doesn't have any hyper-realistic animation.
It never, and the way they described it in some of the other, I think it was Squidward one, it's it wasn't, CGI, or it wasn't, photorealistic, depiction, but it wasn't quite CGI either. I was like...
I don't care what it was anymore.
Yeah. I don't know. It's okay, and it does happen a lot in Lost episode things where it's it went all hyper realistic. It's so it became a Ren and Stimpy episode where they get a close up of a character and suddenly it's a lot more details.
Yeah, it's not hyper realistic. It's just better drawn.
And actually, I think even SpongeBob does that, where they'll get a close up of a character and show just how disgusting they look in more detail. But yeah, no, it's not very effective for describing something creepy. Like we mentioned, Suicide Mouse probably achieves it the best out of these three. But I think Squidward gives you the best, or gives you the most creepypasta believable explanation for it, in that it's supernatural.
Well, yeah.
They all try to hint at either, is it supernatural or is it corporate things? No, it's not corporate thing at all, because you have too many plot holes in that. It's got to be supernatural or it doesn't work.
Yeah, but if you can switch that off for Suicide Mouse... I don't think I'm alone here in saying that Suicide Mouse is the best of the three.
Yeah. And it's probably, it is one of the four, again, it is actually one of the founding Lost episode stories, so it makes sense.
That being said, it's still bad.
Yeah.
Like, it's still, it's horrible. And, like, I'm not talking subject material, I'm talking, it's just badly written. And I don't find it creepy. Because that's basically my whole problem with this subgenre of Lost episodes, is that it's a fucking episode. If you don't want it to bother you, don't watch it.
Yeah.
There is nothing creepy about... By this logic, my collection of horror movies is disturbing.
Yeah.
It's not.
No. I think, I've mentioned way too many times, I like Lost episodes. Thinking on it, I don't really get creeped. I get creeped out by the ideas that are proposed before I even read the pasta, and then when I read the pasta, I do get disappointed on multiple occasions by how lackluster or how uncreepy it was. Like, I get more creeped out by, like, thinking of the idea that they were proposing rather than the actual story.
And I think part of the problem here is that people who are going to write a Lost episode, and this is a huge generalization, and I'm, might be putting my foot in my mouth here, but people who are going to write a Lost episodes pasta,
yeah,
they are people who aren't starting with an original idea.
Yeah, exactly.
So they aren't
like they're using
the best writers.
Like all three of these.
And I mean, they might get better, the only writing is one of those things where the only way to get better is to do it.
Yeah.
So, they might get better, but they start, this is... You're starting with an unoriginal idea.
You're starting as fan
because
fiction.
You're doing... Yeah, exactly.
You're starting as horrific or as creepy fan fiction is essentially what it is.
It's fan fiction where you want to see your beloved characters die and shit.
Horrified, yeah.
And, yeah.
And again, it may not be that they're, sick and twisted, to do it, but, I mean, they want to see, they want to try and capture, again, the horror movie trope, or, idea of taking something innocent and twisting it and making it terrifying. Like, Children of the Corn. It's a bunch of kids in a town that kill they kill all adults and stuff.
That's not innocent, man!
I mean, but they take the idea of children who are supposed to be innocent most of the time and make them into the monsters.
I think you're reading a lot more into
probably, but
into the.
I'm just saying, that's
the idea behind.
It is
Children of the Corn.
I know. I'm just using it as an example. It's the same. It's a common idea that happens in horror movies where you take something idyllic or something that you want, that you'd want to check out. Like, again, camping, killer.
Bad example. Stick with Santa's sleigh.
Okay, yeah, Santa Claus.
Because Santa.
Yeah, Santa Claus.
Always happy-go-lucky. I'm sorry, camping is not always happy-go-lucky. There are these things in nature called bears, and
true.
They tend to wreck camping.
That's true. It can turn your camping trip in real life into a horror movie. Okay, yeah, like Santa Claus, yeah, Santa's sleigh, that kind of thing. Or like Christmas.
Or fucking Leprechaun.
Yep.
Leprechaun is another damn fun example. Child's Play.
Yep. It. Or, it's not a good one.
No. Because it's really a Lovecraftian horror.
And also this one's not really... Okay. Clowns from Outer Space? Killer Clowns from Outer Space? They took clowns, which are supposed to be, good and, good-natured and jolly.
Once upon
and
a time, clowns were not wildly feared. They didn't have their own phobia.
Yeah. But yeah, exactly. Like taking something innocent, like an innocent idea like that, and twisting it, that's a common horror trope or a horror ideal, and that's what these Lost episodes try to do. I think. I don't think it's that the person is twisted and morbid and needs to go somewhere and get help. I think it's just that they want to try and capture that horror of
I don't
twisting
know, man.
something.
Cupcakes.
Okay, I've been
exactly.
It's creepy and I question the person's reason for it, but at the same time I've just proposed that the same thing for Saturday morning cartoon shows not The Simpsons, but for Mickey Mouse and SpongeBob. Maybe that guy, the person that wrote Cupcakes, isn't such a horrifying twisted fellow in public.
Just can't understand why anyone who knows that much about My Little Pony would clearly you watch My Little Pony, so why are you writing like this about my... whatever.
Yeah, I mean...
It's still just... I don't know. I still cannot see the appeal and the draw to fucking Lost episodes. And again, I think that's why I like Suicide Mouse the most, because it doesn't feel like all of the other Lost episodes. It really just feels like they wanted to have this, you know... They wanted to do, like, a haunted movie thing, and they went with an old, you know... Old character from the 30s, because it's an old movie from the fucking 30s.
Yeah. It's like using, Super 8 or whatever for, like, Sinister. Like, they use an old, outdated medium, or outdated, like...
I don't know what you're talking about, so that's okay.
All right. I just mean, like, they use, like, an old medium to try and, like... and bring it into this, because like people aren't really familiar with it, or they're familiar enough with it but not 100%.
They're familiar with it, but they don't know everything about it, so there's a little bit of play that the author can have. And I mean, sure, we shot that all to shit, but if you don't, you know, read it to tear it apart, you can just have fun with it, in theory.
And, like, unfortunately, we had to read it and also, like, find things wrong with it. Or, I mean, I tried to find some good things in it, and I did find, like, there were, like I said, like I've mentioned the whole episode, I've found, like, ideas in them that I've liked, but not enough to recommend any of these pastas. Except for maybe Suicide Mouse, but...
Yeah. I wouldn't recommend any of them, but if you made me fucking pick...
Choose.
The one I would feel the least horrible about recommending would be Suicide Mouse.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't... Well, and I feel like... I don't know. I just feel like Suicide Mouse is trying to be original, whereas I feel like the other ones are just trying to play off the popularity of the source material show.
Yeah. And no, I get that, yeah.
I don't... Like, I never like that. That never appeals to me.
You're just not a huge fan of, like using using a
I don't like fan
franchise.
Fiction.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't like fan fiction, so I don't like this shit. Mm-hmm. So I don't like Lost episodes, because that's basically what they are, is an extension of fan fiction.
Yeah. And
yeah, I don't know. I've never understood it. Like, you know, come up with your own characters, do your own thing. And I understand that, you know, this can, for a lot of people, be a step to that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, I'm not saying to anyone, you know, if you've got an idea to write a Lost episodes, I'm not saying don't write it. I'm just saying maybe you don't fucking put it on the internet.
Or...
Because then I'm going to have to read it, and I'm going to get upset, and then you're going to find out what I said about you, and you're going to get all pissy with me, and then there's going to be this thing, and...
Well, again, like, we don't, like... I mean, we tear apart these pastas, but I mean... Like, if anything, like, try and, like, okay, yeah, like, we ripped into this pasta that you did. Maybe, like you take some
step up your game.
Exactly. Yeah. Sorry. That's what I mean. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, step up your game. Like, get inspired to do better from it. I don't know. So that was our Saturday morning Lost episodes episode. Like I said, you can if you want, still check these out on. You can check them out at creepypasta.wiki, or just literally just Google or YouTube. Any of three of these, and you'll find a good number of readings of them on YouTube. So that is our episode for today. You can leave comments in the section below wherever this gets posted, either on Kiwi6, Tumblr, Facebook, YouTube.
I think a better way to put that would be wherever they read it or listen to it. There we go.
Wherever they listen to it.
I mean, we post it everywhere.
Yeah, we do. We're on iTunes, so leave us a review. It helps us out by telling us what you think and gets us a little bit, or bumps us up on the iTunes boards. You can contact us on Twitter at Dr. Leviathan or Review Cultist. And you can also send us an email at eldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDENTERIGAMORTIS@gmail.com, where you can leave us suggestions for other creepypastas you'd like us to review on the show. Also, if you would like to help support us, you can go to the Tumblr site, crazonstudios.tumblr.com, and donate. We have a little donate button there. So, until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
And I'm Dr. Leviathan.
And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well.
2550, 2550, 2550, 2550, 2550, 2550, 25.